The fluorescent lights of the university library buzzed overhead, a constant reminder that it was 3 in the morning and Sophia Chen had been studying for 14 straight hours. Her eyes burned as she highlighted another passage in her medical textbook, the words about cardiac pathology blurring together into meaningless shapes. 22 years old, and she felt ancient. Her phone vibrated. A text from her younger sister, Emma. "Can't sleep. When are you coming home?" If you're enjoying this story so far, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe. Drop a comment telling me where in the world you're watching from. I love hearing from you. Sophia's chest tightened. Emma was 12, too young to be alone in their cramped studio apartment at this hour. But what choice did they have? The library security guard knew Sophia by name now, knew she'd be here until dawn broke, studying for the nursing exam that would determine whether she could stay in the program. "Soon, Em. Lock the door. Love you." She couldn't afford to fail. Not when Emma depended on her. Not when their parents' life insurance had run out 2 years ago, leaving them with nothing but debt and each other. Sophia pushed away from the table, her back screaming in protest. She needed coffee, maybe some air, anything to keep her eyes open for another few hours. The campus was deserted at this hour, street lamps casting long shadows across empty pathways. November wind cut through her thin jacket as she walked toward the 24-hour cafe on the edge of campus. She should have worn something warmer, but her winter coat had gone to the pawn shop last month to cover Emma's school supplies. That's when she saw it. A black leather wallet lying on the ground near the library steps, half hidden beneath a discarded coffee cup. Sophia hesitated. Every instinct screamed at her to keep walking. People who lost wallets in this neighborhood rarely came back for them, and God knew she and Emma needed money. Her student loan payment was overdue. The electricity bill sat unopened on their kitchen counter because she was too afraid to see the final notice. But she could hear her mother's voice, clear as day. "Integrity isn't about what you do when people are watching, Sophia. It's about who you are when no one will ever know." With a sigh that felt like it came from the depths of her soul, Sophia picked up the wallet. It was expensive, the kind of leather that whispered wealth, that promised a world so far removed from hers it might as well be another planet. She opened it, hoping to find a student ID, a phone number, something to help her return it. What she found instead made her knees weak. Cash. Stacks of $100 bills, neatly organized. Her hands trembled as she counted, unable to stop herself, even though she knew it would make everything harder. $50,000. The number echoed in her mind like a scream. $50,000. She could pay off her student loans, catch up on rent, buy Emma new clothes that actually fit, get their mother's necklace back from the pawn shop. They could eat something besides ramen and day-old bread for once. Sophia's vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. She stood there on the empty campus, holding more money than she'd seen in her entire life, her future balanced on the edge of a decision. Behind the cash, she found a driver's license. The photo showed a man in his mid-30s with dark hair, sharp cheekbones, and eyes that seemed to look through the camera lens rather than at it. Even in the small ID photo, he radiated an intensity that made her breath catch. Dante Moretti. The address listed was in Gold Coast, the wealthiest neighborhood in Chicago, where penthouses sold for millions, and people like Sophia only went when they were delivering food or cleaning houses. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and typed the address into her maps. 40-minute train ride. She had class in 6 hours. Emma would be waking up for school in 4. This was insane, but Sophia Chen had been raised to do the right thing, even when the right thing felt like self-destruction. She carefully placed the wallet in her backpack, gathered her study materials from the library, and headed for the train station. The Gold Coast address led to a building that made Sophia feel like she was trespassing just by standing on the sidewalk. Floor-to-ceiling windows reflected the early morning sun, and a doorman in an actual uniform stood at the entrance like a sentinel guarding heaven's gates. She approached with her backpack clutched tight, very aware of how she must look. No sleep, coffee-stained jeans, her hair in a messy bun held together by a pencil because she'd lost all her hair ties. "Can I help you?" The doorman's tone was polite but cold, his eyes already dismissing her. "I'm here to see Dante Moretti. I have something that belongs to him." The man's expression shifted from bored to alert in an instant. "Mr. Moretti isn't taking visitors. I don't need to visit. I just need to return his wallet." Sophia pulled it out, holding it up like evidence. The doorman's eyes widened slightly at the sight of the expensive leather. He pulled out a phone, spoke quietly into it, then looked at her with something between surprise and suspicion. Penthouse level. Take the private elevator on the right. The elevator was lined with mirrors, forcing Sophia to confront her reflection from every angle. She looked exactly like what she was, exhausted, broke, and completely out of her depth. The elevator climbed smoothly, the floor numbers ticking higher, 20, 30, 40, until it stopped at the top floor. The doors opened directly into an apartment that redefined everything Sophia thought she knew about wealth. The space was massive, with floor-to-ceiling windows offering a panoramic view of Chicago that made her dizzy. Modern art hung on, walls painted in shades of gray and cream. Furniture that probably cost more than her entire year's tuition was arranged with careful precision. And standing in the center of it all, backlit by the morning sun streaming through the windows, was Dante Moretti. The photo on his driver's license hadn't captured the full force of his presence. He was tall, maybe 6'2", with dark hair that looked deliberately tousled and a face that belonged on magazine covers. He wore tailored black slacks and a white dress shirt with the sleeves rolled up, revealing forearms that suggested he did more than just sign checks and make phone calls. But it was his eyes that stopped her. Dark, intense, and currently fixed on her with an expression she couldn't read. "Miss Chen," he said, his voice smooth and controlled, with just a hint of something dangerous underneath. "My security team tells me you have something of mine." "How do you know my name?" The question escaped before she could stop it. A slight smile touched his lips. "Your student ID was in your backpack. Security cameras caught it when you opened it to put my wallet inside." He gestured to a leather sofa. "Please, sit." Sophia remained standing, suddenly very aware that she was alone in a penthouse with a strange man. She reached into her backpack and pulled out the wallet, holding it out to him. "I found it on campus, near the library. I wanted to return it." Dante took the wallet, his fingers brushing hers briefly. The contact sent an unexpected jolt through her, electricity she hadn't anticipated. He opened it, checking the contents with practiced efficiency. "Everything's there," Sophia said quickly, defensively. "I didn't take anything." His eyes lifted to meet hers, and something flickered in their depths. Surprise, maybe, or suspicion. Most people would have kept the cash, called it a finder's fee. "I'm not most people." Clearly. He studied her for a long moment, and Sophia forced herself not to look away. She'd learned years ago that looking away meant weakness, and weak people got stepped on. "You're a nursing student," Dante said. "Not a question. Second year. Currently failing pharmacology because you're working 2 jobs and caring for your younger sister. Your parents died in a car accident 3 years ago, leaving you as Emma's legal guardian." Horror and anger flooded through Sophia in equal measure. "How do you know all that?" "I make it my business to know about people who have my money in their possession." He moved to a bar cart, pouring amber liquid into a crystal glass. "Especially when they choose to return it rather than disappear. I didn't have your money. You had your money. I was just returning it to you." Her voice rose despite her best efforts to stay calm. "And you had no right to investigate me. That's a violation of my privacy. Privacy is a luxury, Miss Chen. One that ended the moment you picked up that wallet." He took a sip of his drink, watching her over the rim. "Sit down, please." It wasn't really a request. Sophia perched on the edge of the sofa, her backpack clutched in her lap like a shield. Dante sat across from her in a leather armchair that probably cost more than her entire apartment's furnishings. "Why did you come all the way here to return this? You could have turned it in to campus security. Let them deal with it, because it's yours. And campus security has a reputation for things going missing. So you took it upon yourself to personally return $50,000 to a stranger." His tone was conversational, but his eyes were sharp. "That's either incredibly honest or incredibly stupid." "Maybe it's both," Sophia said, standing abruptly. She'd done what she came to do. "I have class in 3 hours and I need to check on my sister. If we're done here." "We're not." Dante's voice stopped her mid-turn. "Sit down, Miss Chen. There's something we need to discuss." "There's nothing to discuss. I returned your wallet." End of story. You really don't know who I am, do you? If you find this story engaging, please take a moment to subscribe and enable notifications. It helps us continue producing in-depth content like this. There was something almost amused in his tone now. "Should I?" Sophia's exhaustion was fraying her patience. "You're Dante Moretti. You live in a penthouse. You're rich. Congratulations. Can I go now?" His laugh was short, sharp, and without real humor. You're either the most naive person in Chicago or the best actress I've ever met. I don't have time for riddles. I have a sister who needs breakfast and a pharmacology exam. I'm going to fail if I don't get at least 2 hours of sleep. Sophia headed for the elevator, done with whatever game this was. Dante Moretti, he said behind her, his voice carrying across the space. Of the Moretti family. Does that mean anything to you? Sophia pressed the elevator button, not turning around. Should it? The elevator doors opened, but before she could step inside, Dante was there, his hand on the door, holding it open. Up close, she could smell his cologne expensive, subtle, with notes of cedar and something darker. You really don't know, he said, and now there was something like wonder in his voice. You walked into the penthouse of one of the most dangerous men in Chicago, completely unaware. Her heart began to pound. Dangerous how? The kind of dangerous that makes people like you, good people, honest people, run in the opposite direction. His eyes searched hers. But you didn't run. You showed up at my door at 6 a.m. to return $50,000 you desperately need. I don't want your money, Sophia said, though her voice wavered slightly. I never did. I know. He released the elevator door, letting it close, trapping her here with him. That's what makes you so dangerous to me. I'm not dangerous to anyone. I'm just a nursing student trying to keep her life together. Dante moved closer, and Sophia backed up against the closed elevator doors, her breath catching as he braced one hand against the wall beside her head. He wasn't touching her, but she could feel the heat of his body, the intensity of his focus. You walked away from $50,000, Sophia. His use of her first name sent a shiver through her. In my world, that kind of honesty is so rare it's practically extinct, which means you're either a saint or you have an angle I haven't figured out yet. I don't have an angle. I just wanted to do the right thing. The right thing. He said it like the words were foreign. When was the last time someone did the right thing for you? The question hit too close to home. Sophia felt tears prick her eyes, exhaustion and stress finally overwhelming her carefully maintained composure. That's what I thought, Dante said softly. He reached up, surprising her by gently brushing a tear from her cheek. The gesture was tender, at odds with everything else about him. You give and give and give, and no one gives back. That's life, Sophia whispered. That's just how it works. Not anymore. He stepped back, pulling out his phone. What's your address? Why? Because I'm sending a car for your sister. She'll be brought here, where she can have breakfast and be driven to school safely. You're going to eat, shower, and sleep for a few hours in one of my guest rooms. Then we're going to have a proper conversation about what happens next. I don't need your charity. It's not charity. It's payment for services rendered. His tone brooked no argument. You returned my property. I'm ensuring you don't collapse from exhaustion and undo that good deed by getting hit by a bus. I can take care of myself. I've been doing it for 3 years. I know you can. Dante's expression softened slightly. But maybe just this once, you don't have to. The offer was tempting. God, it was tempting. The thought of a real breakfast, a shower in a bathroom that actually had hot water, a bed that wasn't a lumpy futon she'd found on the curb. Emma won't go with strangers, Sophia said, her resistance crumbling. Then you'll call her. Explain that a friend is sending a car. She'll be safe, Sophia. I promise you that. She should refuse. Every instinct told her that accepting help from Dante Moretti, whoever he really was, would complicate her life in ways she couldn't imagine. But she was so tired, so bone-deep exhausted that the thought of getting back on the train, going home to their cold apartment, making breakfast from whatever scraps they had left, and somehow staying awake through class felt impossible. Just this once, she heard herself say, and then we're even. Even, Dante agreed, though something in his eyes suggested he didn't believe that for a second. As he made phone calls, arranging everything with quiet efficiency, Sophia sank onto his ridiculously expensive sofa and pulled out her phone to text Emma. She had no idea that accepting help from Dante Moretti was about to change everything, that the simple act of returning a lost wallet had set off a choirad fine, chain of events neither of them could stop, that by doing the right thing, she'd just stepped into a world where right and wrong blurred into shades of gray, and the most dangerous man in Chicago had decided she was worth protecting, whether she wanted his protection or not. Sophia woke to the smell of fresh coffee and the disorienting sensation of Egyptian cotton sheets against her skin. For a moment, she couldn't remember where she was. Then it all came flooding back: the wallet, Dante Moretti, accepting his offer of help in a moment of weakness. She sat up, panic gripping her chest. What time was it? Where was Emma? The guest room was larger than her entire apartment, decorated in soft grays and creams with modern furniture that looked like it belonged in a magazine. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows, and Sophia's heart sank as she realized how high the sun had climbed. Her phone sat on the nightstand, plugged into a charger she didn't remember connecting. The screen showed 2:47 p.m. and 17 missed calls from the university. No. She'd missed her pharmacology exam, the one that determined whether she could stay in the nursing program. 3 years of work, sacrifice, sleepless nights gone because she'd fallen asleep in a stranger's penthouse. A soft knock interrupted her spiral into panic. "Come in," she called, her voice rough from sleep. A woman in her 50s entered, carrying a tray. She had kind eyes and an accent Sophia couldn't quite place. "Good afternoon, Miss Chen. I'm Maria, Mr. Moretti's housekeeper. I've brought you coffee and lunch. Where's my sister? Is Emma okay?" "Your sister is perfectly safe," Maria assured her, setting the tray on a side table. "She's in the media room, finishing her homework. She's already had lunch, grilled cheese and tomato soup. Her favorite, according to Mr. Moretti's team." How did they know Emma's favorite lunch? The question sent a chill through Sophia, but she pushed it aside. "I need to see her." "Of course, but perhaps you'd like to shower first? There are fresh clothes in the closet and toiletries in the bathroom." Maria smiled gently. "Your sister has been asking about you, but she's not worried. Mr. Moretti explained that you were very tired and needed to rest." After Maria left, Sophia stumbled into the bathroom and stopped short. It was bigger than their apartment's living room and kitchen combined, all marble and chrome with a shower that had more settings than her phone. She caught sight of herself in the mirror and winced. No wonder the doorman had looked at her like that. The shower was heaven. Hot water that didn't run out after 3 minutes. Water pressure that actually worked. Soap that smelled like lavender and honey instead of the cheap bar soap she bought in bulk. For 10 minutes, Sophia let herself forget about the exam, the mounting debt, the constant fear that she was failing Emma. The closet held clothes in exactly her size jeans that actually fit, a soft cashmere sweater in deep blue, undergarments still in packaging. The attention to detail was both thoughtful and deeply unsettling. How much did Dante Moretti know about her? And why did he care? She found Emma in a room that looked like a private movie theater, complete with a massive screen and recliners that probably cost more than a car. Her sister sat cross-legged on the floor, textbooks spread around her, completely absorbed in her math homework. "Em?" Sophia's voice cracked with relief. Emma looked up, her face breaking into a smile that eased some of the tightness in Sophia's chest. "Sophie, you're awake. This place is amazing. Did you see the kitchen? Maria made real hot chocolate, not the powdered kind. And there's a library with actual first editions. And," Sophia dropped to her knees and pulled Emma into a fierce hug, breathing in the familiar scent of her sister's strawberry shampoo. "Are you okay? Did anyone scare you? Did they?" "I'm fine." Emma pulled back, rolling her eyes in that preteen way that somehow made Sophia want to cry. "Mr. Moretti's driver, Vincent, was really nice. He let me pick the music in the car, and Maria says I can come back any time to use the library because they have all the books for my reading list. We're not coming back, Em. This was just Miss Chen." Dante's voice came from the doorway, and Sophia's heart did an uncomfortable flip. "I'm glad you're awake. We need to talk." He looked different in the afternoon light, more relaxed in dark jeans and a charcoal sweater that emphasized his broad shoulders. But his eyes still held that intensity that made her feel exposed, seen in ways she wasn't comfortable with. "Emma," he said, his voice softening as he addressed her sister. "Maria was hoping you'd help her bake cookies. She says she needs an expert taste tester." Emma's eyes lit up. "Really? Can I, Sophie?" Sophia wanted to say no, wanted to grab Emma's hand and run from this place with its casual wealth and dangerous undercurrents. But Emma was looking at her with such hope, such uncomplicated joy at the simple prospect of baking cookies in a warm kitchen where food wasn't rationed and measured. "Okay," she heard herself say, "but stay with Maria, and don't touch anything expensive." After Emma left, practically bouncing with excitement, Dante gestured to a leather sofa. "Sit. Please. I need to go. I missed my exam, which means I'm probably going to be kicked out of the nursing program, which means—" Her voice broke. She pressed her palms against her eyes, willing herself not to cry in front of this man who already knew too much about her weaknesses. Your pharmacology professor received a call from my personal physician this morning, Dante said calmly, explaining that you were under medical care for severe exhaustion and dehydration. Your exam has been rescheduled for next week. Sophia's hands dropped. You did what? I ensured you didn't suffer consequences for accepting my hospitality. You had no right. I had every right. His voice hardened slightly. You returned $50,000 when you're 3 months behind on rent, and your sister needs new shoes. The least I can do is make one phone call. How do you know Emma needs new shoes? The question came out as a whisper. Dante was quiet for a moment, studying her face. Sit down, Sophia. There are things you need to understand. This time, she sat. Not because he told her to, but because her legs felt suddenly unsteady. Do you know what I do? He asked. Beyond the vague, dangerous man description I gave you this morning? No, and I'm not sure I want to. Unfortunately, want doesn't factor into this anymore. He moved to the windows, his silhouette dark against the bright Chicago skyline. My family has controlled certain operations in Chicago for 3 generations. Legitimate businesses, real estate, construction, restaurants, and less legitimate ones. The words hung in the air, their implication clear. Mafia. The Moretti family was mafia. Oh God, Sophia breathed. I've been trying to transition everything to legitimate operations. It's a slow process. You don't just walk away from 50 years of infrastructure overnight. He turned to face her. But there are people who don't want me to succeed. People who profit from the old ways. And they're watching for any sign of weakness. What does this have to do with me? You were seen entering this building this morning. By the time you left, every family in Chicago knew that a young woman had visited Dante Moretti's penthouse at dawn and stayed for hours. Ice flooded Sophia's veins. But I was just returning your wallet. They don't know that. They see a pretty nursing student who I've taken an interest in, which makes you valuable, or vulnerable, depending on how they want to use you. Sophia stood abruptly. Then we'll leave. We'll go home, and I'll stay away from you, and they'll realize I'm nobody. It's too late for that. Dante's voice was gentle but firm. Your apartment was broken into 3 hours ago. The room tilted. What? Nothing was taken. It was a message. They wanted you to know they could reach you anytime they wanted. He pulled out his phone, showing her photos that made her stomach turn. Their apartment, their things rifled through, everything in disarray. I have a security team there now, cleaning up and installing better locks. But Sophia, he moved closer, his expression grave. You can't go back there. Not yet. That's our home. That's all we have. I know, and I'm sorry. He did look sorry, she realized. Not guilty, but genuinely regretful. This is my fault. I should have anticipated this. Should have been more careful. Careful about what? I returned your wallet. That's it. That's all that happened. In my world, nothing is ever that simple. Dante ran a hand through his hair, a gesture that made him look younger, more human. The wallet you returned? It was stolen from me 2 days ago, by people who wanted to see how I'd react, how I'd handle the theft. When you showed up with it, perfectly intact, with all the money still there, it raised questions. Questions about what? About who you are, why you'd return it, whether you're working for me, whether you're someone I care about enough to protect. His eyes locked with hers. And now that those questions are out there, the answers don't matter. The speculation is enough to paint a target on your back. Sophia sank back onto the sofa, the weight of his words crushing her chest. So what are you saying? We're prisoners here? You're under my protection. There's a difference. Is there? Her voice rose. Because from where I'm sitting, it sounds like my life is over because I tried to do the right thing. Your life isn't over. It's complicated, yes, but not over. Dante knelt in front of her, bringing himself to her eye level. I made you a promise this morning, that Emma would be safe. I'm extending that promise. Both of you will be safe, for as long as it takes me to neutralize the threat. How long is that? I don't know. Days, weeks, maybe longer. Sophia laughed, the sound bitter and harsh. I can't stay here for weeks. I have classes, exams, work. I'll hire tutors to work with you here. Your professors will receive documentation explaining your absence. As for your jobs, he paused. You're working as a nursing assistant at St. Mary's Hospital and as a waitress at Romano's. Both employers will receive notices that you've had to take emergency medical leave, with pay. The thoroughness of his knowledge about her life should have terrified her. Instead, she felt numb. You've thought of everything. It's what I do. He stood, offering her his hand. Come, let me show you something. Against her better judgment, Sophia took his hand. His palm was warm, calloused in places she wouldn't have expected from a man of his wealth. He led her through the penthouse to a door she hadn't noticed before, which opened onto a rooftop garden. The space took her breath away. Real grass, flower beds that must have cost a fortune to maintain at this height, and a view of Chicago that made the city look almost peaceful. Emma was there with Maria, both of them laughing as they used a standing mixer, flour dusting their hands and faces. Look at her, Dante said quietly. When was the last time you saw her laugh like that? Sophia couldn't remember. The weight of their situation, poverty, uncertainty, the constant struggle had stolen Emma's childhood piece by piece. But here, now, her sister looked like a normal 12-year-old, happy, carefree. I can't accept this, Sophia whispered, even as everything in her wanted to. You're not accepting charity. You're accepting protection you need through no fault of your own. Dante's hand remained on her back, warm and steady. I put you in danger, Sophia. Let me get you out of it. And then what? When the danger passes, we just go back to our lives? Pretend none of this happened? He was quiet for a long moment. We'll see. The non-answer should have frustrated her. Instead, it felt honest. Neither of them knew what would happen next. Over the next few days, Sophia and Emma settled into a strange new routine. Sophia worked with tutors. Dante hired real professors who conducted private sessions in the penthouse library. Emma attended school in the mornings, driven by Vincent in a car with tinted windows, always with security Sophia couldn't see but knew was there. Evenings were the hardest. After Emma went to bed in her new bedroom, a space 10 times larger than what they'd had, decorated with careful attention to a 12-year-old's taste, Sophia found herself drawn to wherever Dante was. Sometimes he was in his office, door closed, voice carrying through in tones that reminded her he was someone dangerous. Other times, she'd find him in the library, reading leather-bound books that looked centuries old. Once, she discovered him on the rooftop garden at midnight, staring at the city lights with an expression so bleak it made her chest ache. Can't sleep? He asked without turning as she approached. Too much on my mind. Sophia joined him at the railing, maintaining a careful distance. Emma asked me today how long we're staying. I didn't know what to tell her. What did you say? That we're on vacation, that a friend was helping us out. She laughed humorlessly. She asked if you were my boyfriend. Dante's expression shifted, something dark and hungry flickering in his eyes before he controlled it. What did you tell her? The truth. That you're someone who helped me when I needed it. Sophia turned to face him fully. But she's 12, not stupid. She knows something's wrong. She just doesn't know what. Would you rather tell her the truth? That she's in danger because bad men want to use her to get to me? Of course not. The thought made Sophia sick. But I hate lying to her. Sometimes lies are kinder than truth. Dante moved closer, close enough that she could smell his cologne, see the shadow of stubble on his jaw. My mother used to tell me that happy children have parents who shoulder the ugly truths alone. Your mother sounds wise. She was. Pain flickered across his face, before the Russo family killed her. The casual way he said it, the matter-of-fact delivery of something so horrific, made Sophia's breath catch. Dante, I was 14. She was visiting my grandmother in the old neighborhood. Wrong place, wrong time during a territory dispute. His jaw tightened. They didn't even know who she was. She was just collateral damage. Without thinking, Sophia reached for his hand. I'm sorry. Don't be. He looked down at their joined hands, his thumb tracing absent circles on her palm. It taught me an important lesson. In this world, there's no such thing as innocent. Bystanders. Everyone is either protected or vulnerable. There's no middle ground. Is that why you're doing this? Protecting us? Partly. His eyes met hers, intense and unreadable. And partly because you did something no one in my world does anymore. You gave something back without asking for anything in return. That kind of integrity. He paused, searching for words. It's dangerous to me, Sophia. It makes me want things I have no right to want. Her heart hammered against her ribs. What things? Instead of answering, he raised her hand to his lips, pressing a kiss to her knuckles that sent heat spiraling through her body. You should get some sleep. You have your rescheduled pharmacology exam tomorrow." It was a dismissal, but a gentle one. Sophia nodded, retreating to the safety of her guest room with her heart racing and questions she wasn't ready to voice burning in her throat. The next morning, Sophia woke to Maria's gentle knock, and the news that breakfast was ready in the dining room. She dressed quickly in clothes that still felt too nice, too expensive, and made her way downstairs. Dante sat at the head of the table, reading something on his tablet with a cup of espresso beside him. He looked up as she entered, his expression softening in a way that made her stomach flip. "Good morning. Ready for your exam?" "As ready as I'll ever be." Sophia sat down, accepting the coffee Maria poured for her. "Thank you for arranging all of this. The tutors, the extra study time, I know I haven't said it, but I'm grateful." "You don't need to thank me." "Yes, I do. You didn't have to do any of this." "Yes," he said quietly. "I did." Before she could ask what he meant, his phone buzzed. Dante glanced at the screen, and his entire demeanor changed. The warmth drained from his expression, replaced by cold calculation. "I need to take this." He stood, already moving toward his office. "Vincent will drive you to campus for your exam. Security will be nearby, but invisible. You won't see them." "Dante, what's wrong?" He paused in the doorway, his back to her. "Nothing you need to worry about. Focus on your exam." But Sophia could see the tension in his shoulders, the careful control in his movements. Something was very wrong. The exam was harder than she'd anticipated, despite the extra studying. Sophia's mind kept drifting to Dante's expression that morning, to the careful way he'd shut her out. When she finally turned in her test 3 hours later, she felt drained. Vincent was waiting outside, holding open the door of the black SUV. "Miss Chen, how did I do on the test?" she asked as they pulled into traffic, attempting humor to mask her anxiety. "I'm sure you did excellently." Vincent's eyes remained on the road, but something in his tone made her uneasy. "Is everything okay?" Dante seemed upset this morning. "Mr. Moretti handles many complicated matters. I'm sure it's nothing to concern you." The diplomatic non-answer only increased her worry. They drove in silence until Vincent's phone rang. He answered in rapid Italian, his tone sharp. Sophia didn't speak the language, but she recognized alarm when she heard it. "Change of plans," Vincent said tersely, taking an unexpected turn. "We're not going back to the penthouse." "Why not? What's happening? Where's Emma?" "Your sister is safe. She's already been relocated." Vincent's hands tightened on the wheel. "There's been a development. Mr. Moretti is handling it." "What kind of development?" Before Vincent could answer, the rear windshield exploded. Sophia screamed as glass rained down on her. Vincent cursed in Italian, accelerating hard as another bullet hit the car's body. The vehicle swerved through traffic, horns blaring around them. "Get down," Vincent shouted. "Stay low." Sophia ducked below the seat, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. This wasn't real. This couldn't be real. Things like this didn't happen to nursing students who returned lost wallets. Another impact, this one to the front windshield, spiderwebbing the glass. Vincent spoke rapidly into his phone, calling for backup, giving their location. The car screeched around a corner, tires protesting. Then, abruptly, the shooting stopped. "Miss Chen," Vincent's voice was steady despite everything. "Are you hurt?" "No, I don't think so." Sophia slowly raised her head, looking around at the shattered glass and damaged interior. "What just happened?" "Someone sent a message to Mr. Moretti." Vincent's expression in the rearview mirror was grim. "You're valuable. They wanted him to know they can reach you whenever they want." The words from days ago echoed in Sophia's mind. "In my world, there's no such thing as innocent bystanders." She wasn't an innocent bystander anymore. She was leverage, a weapon someone could use against Dante Moretti. And Emma was part of this now too. "I need to see my sister," Sophia said, her voice surprisingly steady. "Right now, Mr. Moretti is bringing her to the safe house. We'll meet them there." Safe house? The term sounded like something from a movie, not her real life. Mr. Moretti has multiple secured locations throughout the city. This situation requires additional security measures. Vincent met her eyes in the mirror. "You're going to be okay, Miss Chen. I promise you that." But as they drove through Chicago's streets, now looking more menacing than she'd ever noticed before, Sophia wondered if okay was even possible anymore. She'd returned a wallet, done the right thing. And somehow, That simple act of integrity had dragged her and Emma into a world of bullets and bodyguards, where doing the right thing might get them killed. The safe house was nothing like Sophia expected. No dramatic warehouse or abandoned building instead. It was a beautifully restored brownstone in a quiet residential neighborhood, the kind of place that screamed upper-middle-class normalcy. Which, she was beginning to understand, was exactly the point. Vincent pulled into an underground garage, the door closing behind them with a mechanical hum that sounded oddly final. As soon as the car stopped, the garage door to the house burst open and Dante strode through, his expression a mask of barely controlled fury. He yanked open Sophia's door before Vincent could move. "Are you hurt?" "I'm fine. Where's Emma?" "Upstairs with Maria. She doesn't know what happened." His hands moved over her arms, her face, checking for injuries with a thoroughness that made her breath catch. "You're sure you're not hurt?" "I'm sure." Sophia caught his hands, stilling their frantic movement. "Dante, what's happening?" His jaw clenched, and for a moment she saw something raw in his eyes, fear, rage, and something else she couldn't identify. Then the mask slammed back into place. Inside. Now. The brownstone's interior was as carefully designed as the penthouse, but warmer somehow. Comfortable furniture, artwork that looked lived with rather than displayed, photographs of people Sophia didn't recognize scattered on side tables. It felt like a home rather than a showpiece. Emma came running down the stairs before Sophia could process much more. "Sophie," Maria said, "we're having a sleepover here tonight. There's a library and a real fireplace and—" Sophia dropped to her knees, pulling her sister into a crushing embrace. "Hey, Em." "Yeah, we're staying here for a bit." "Is this because of the bad guys?" Emma whispered against her shoulder. Sophia pulled back, searching her sister's face. "What?" "I'm not stupid, Sophie. I know something's wrong. Maria's nice, but she watches me all the time. And Vincent always has a gun." Emma's eyes, too old for a 12-year-old, met hers. "Are we in trouble?" Before Sophia could figure out how to answer, Dante crouched beside them. "Emma, can I be honest with you?" Emma nodded, her small hand finding Sophia's, and gripping tight. "There are some people who are angry with me," Dante said, his voice gentle but direct. "They want to hurt people I care about to get back at me. Your sister helped me when she didn't have to, and that made you both people I care about. So yes, there are bad guys, but I promise you." His eyes held Emma's with absolute certainty. "They will never ever touch you or your sister. Do you understand? Because you're stronger than them? Because I'm willing to do whatever it takes to keep you safe. Both of you." Emma studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. "Okay, I believe you. Em, why don't you go help Maria with dinner?" Sophia suggested, needing to talk to Dante without her sister overhearing. After Emma left, Sophia turned on Dante. "Don't make promises to her you can't keep." "I don't." He stood, running a hand through his hair in that gesture she was coming to recognize as frustration. "Come with me. We need to talk." He led her to a study on the pont, second floor smaller than the one in the penthouse but somehow more personal. Books lined the walls, a desk held stacks of papers, and photographs covered one wall. Sophia moved closer, studying them. A younger Dante with a beautiful dark-haired woman who had his eyes, another of him with a gray-haired man who shared his strong jaw. Family photos, she realized. The people he'd lost. "My mother," Dante said quietly, appearing beside her. "And my father. Both dead because of this life." "Then why stay in it?" The question escaped before she could stop it. "You said you're trying to go legitimate. Why not just leave? Start over somewhere else?" "Because it doesn't work like that." His voice held years of weariness. "You don't just walk away from the family business. It's not a job you quit. It's who you are, what you were born into." "That's not fair. Life rarely is." He moved to a bar cart, pouring amber liquid into 2 glasses. "The shooting today, it was the Castellano family. They're pushing back against my attempts to go legitimate because my old operations overlapped with theirs. If I pull out, they lose revenue." Sophia accepted the glass he offered, though she rarely drank. "So they shoot at me to send you a message?" "They shoot near you. If they'd wanted to hit you, Vincent would be calling the morgue right now." He knocked back his drink in one swallow. "It's a warning. Back off, or they'll escalate." "And will you? Back off?" "No." The word was flat, absolute. "I've spent 15 years building an empire. I'm not going back to the old ways because some bastards are losing profit. Even if people get hurt? His eyes met hers, dark and unflinching. I told you when we met in my world, there are no innocent bystanders. Everyone is either protected or vulnerable. And I protect what's mine. I'm not yours. The protest sounded weak even to her own ears. Dante set down his glass and moved closer, close enough that she could feel the heat radiating from his body. Aren't you? Her breath caught. This is insane. A week ago I was a struggling nursing student. Now I'm what? Part of some Mafia power play? You're under my protection. That's all that matters. It's not all that matters. Sophia's voice rose. Emma is terrified, even if she's trying to hide it. I missed another week of classes. My entire life is on hold because I tried to do the right thing. And I'm sorry for that. The apology sounded genuine, which somehow made it worse. But we can't change what's happened. We can only move forward. Forward to what? How long are we supposed to hide? How long before it's safe? I don't know. His honesty hit harder than a lie would have. The Castellanos are entrenched. Taking them down completely could take months. Months? Months. Sophia set down her untouched drink before she dropped it. I can't put my life on hold for months, Dante. I have a degree to finish. Emma has school. We have a life. What life? His voice took on an edge. Working yourself to death for minimum wage? Choosing between electricity and groceries? Living in an apartment with broken locks and black mold in the bathroom? It's our life. The one we built. I can give you better. Dante caught her arms, his grip firm but not painful. Both of you. No more struggling, no more fear, no more freedom, Sophia finished. Because that's what you're really offering, isn't it? A gilded cage where all our needs are met, but we're still prisoners. You'd be protected. By you. A man I barely know. A man who... She stopped, unable to voice what he was, what he'd done. A man who's killed people. Dante finished for her. You can say it, Sophia. I know what I am. Then help me understand. Her voice cracked. Help me understand how the man who makes Emma laugh and reads to her at night is the same one who orders people dead. Because the world isn't black and white. His hand slid up to cup her face, thumbs brushing her cheekbones. I've done terrible things to protect the people I love. I'd do them again without hesitation. Does that make me a monster? I don't know, she whispered. Neither do I. His forehead touched hers, and Sophia felt the tremor in his hands. But I know I'd burn this entire city down before I let anyone hurt you or Emma. The intensity in his voice should have frightened her. Instead, it made something warm unfurl in her chest, dangerous, intoxicating, completely inappropriate given their circumstances. This is wrong, she said, even as her hands found their way to his chest. Whatever this is between us, it's wrong. Probably. His lips brushed her temple. But I stopped caring about right and wrong the moment you walked into my penthouse and gave back $50,000 you desperately needed. That was just integrity, honor, everything I thought was extinct in this world. He pulled back enough to meet her eyes. You reminded me what it feels like to want to be better, to believe that better is possible. I'm not some redemption story, Dante. I'm just a person trying to survive. You're everything. The words were raw, stripped of his usual control. And I will keep you safe, even if you hate me for it. Before Sophia could respond, his phone buzzed. Dante glanced at the screen and his expression hardened instantly. What is it? The Castellanos have made their next move. He was already moving toward the door, pulling out his phone. Stay here. Don't leave this house. Dante, wait. But he was already gone, taking the stairs 2 at a time, barking orders in Italian to people she couldn't see. Sophia stood alone in the study, surrounded by photographs of Dante's dead family, and wondered how much more she was willing to sacrifice on the altar of doing the right thing. 3 days passed in tense waiting. Dante came and went at odd hours, always with security in tow, always with that look in, as eyes that said he was planning something dangerous. Emma settled into the strange routine with the adaptability of childhood, but Sophia could see the cracks forming the nightmares that woke her sister screaming, the way Emma wouldn't let Sophia out of her sight for long. On the 4th day, Sophia found Dante in the study at 2 a.m, staring at maps and documents spread across the desk. You should be asleep, he said without looking up. So should you. She moved closer, studying the papers. Names, addresses, photographs of men who looked as dangerous as Dante. What are you planning? Something that should have been done years ago. His voice was flat, emotionless. The Castellanos have been pushing boundaries for too long. It's time to push back. By doing what? Killing them? If necessary. He finally looked at her, and the coldness in his eyes made her step back. This is who I am, Sophia. This is what I do to protect what's mine. And what happens to you? When you've killed everyone who threatens us, what's left? Does it matter? Yes. The word exploded from her. It matters because Emma is getting attached to you. Because She stopped, unable to finish. Because you're what? Dante stood, moving around the desk. Say it. Because I'm starting to care about you, she admitted, the words feeling like surrender. And I don't know if that makes me stupid or crazy or both. His expression softened, the cold mask cracking. Probably both. That's not funny. It's not meant to be. He reached for her, pulling her close. I care about you too. More than I should. More than is safe for either of us. Then stop this. Walk away from whatever you're planning. I can't. His arms tightened around her. Not without showing weakness. And weakness in my world gets people killed. So instead, you risk your life? Her hands fisted in his shirt. What happens to Emma and me if you die? What happens if you go to war with the Castellanos? And lose? I won't lose. You don't know that. Yes, Dante said quietly. I do. The certainty in his voice chilled her. This wasn't bravado or false confidence. This was a man who had calculated every angle, every risk, and decided the cost was acceptable. I need you to promise me something, Sophia said against his chest. If something goes wrong, if you don't come back, I need to know Emma will be taken care of. Nothing's going to happen to me. Promise me anyway. Dante pulled back, cupping her face in his hands. I have a trust set up. If anything happens to me, you and Emma will be taken care of for life. The penthouse, this house, everything, it's all in your name as of 3 days ago. Sophia's breath caught. Why would you do that? Because you gave back $50,000 when you needed it. His thumb traced her lower lip. Because you protected Emma even when it meant sleeping in a penthouse you couldn't wait to leave. Because you're the first person in 15 years who made me believe in doing the right thing. Dante. He kissed her before she could finish, and this time there was no gentleness, no restraint. His mouth was demanding, desperate, and Sophia found herself responding with equal intensity. Her hands slid into his hair, pulling him closer as his arms banded around her waist. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Dante rested his forehead against hers. I need to go. The meeting with the Castellanos is in 3 hours. Don't. The plea escaped before she could stop it. Please don't go. I have to, but I will come back to you. His voice held absolute conviction. I promise. You told Emma not to make promises you can't keep. I'm keeping this one. He pressed one more kiss to her forehead, then stepped back. Vincent will be here with 6 other security guards. Maria knows what to do if anything goes wrong. You'll be safe. That's not what I'm worried about. His smile was sad, understanding. I know. Sophia watched him gather weapons she tried not to look at too closely. Watched him transform from the man who read bedtime stories to Emma into something harder, more dangerous. The Dante Moretti who had built an empire on fear and respect. At the door, he paused. Sophia? Yeah? Thank you. For returning my wallet. For caring about Emma. For caring about me. His eyes held hers across the room. For reminding me what it feels like to want to be worthy of someone good. Then he was gone, and Sophia was left alone with the sound of cars starting in the garage below and the terrible certainty that everything was about to change. The hours crawled by. Sophia tried to sleep but couldn't. Tried to distract herself with studying, but the words swam meaninglessly across the page. She checked on Emma 3 times, each time finding her sister sleeping peacefully, blissfully unaware of what was happening across the city. At dawn, Maria appeared, in the study doorway where Sophia had been pacing for the last hour. He's back. He's in the garage, Sophia ran. Dante was climbing out of an SUV, blood on his shirt, exhaustion written in every line of his body. But he was alive. He was whole. You're okay. She breathed, stopping just short of throwing herself at him. I'm fine. It's not my blood. He caught her anyway, pulling her against his chest despite the gore staining his clothes. It's done. The Castellanos have agreed to terms. What terms? They stay out of my territory. I stay out of theirs. And anyone who touches you or Emma answers to both families. His arms tightened around her. You're safe now. Both of you. Sophia pulled back, studying his face. He looked hollowed out, aged by whatever had happened in that meeting. What did you have to do? Things I'm not proud of. Things I hope you never have to know about. His hand cupped her cheek. But you're safe. That's all that matters. No, it's not. She covered his, and with hers. You matter too. Something shifted in his expression. Surprise, vulnerability, hope. Sophia, I was terrified, she interrupted. All night I was terrified that you wouldn't come back, that Emma would lose another person she cared about, that I would lose. Her voice broke. You didn't lose me. Dante pulled her close again. I promised I'd come back, and I keep my promises. They stood like that for a long moment, holding each other in the gray light of dawn, surrounded by the evidence of violence but somehow finding peace in each other's arms. What happens now? Sophia finally asked. Now? Dante pulled back, brushing hair from her face. Now you have a choice to make. What choice? You and Emma can go back to your lives. I'll make sure you're protected, set up in a better apartment, help with your tuition, all from a distance. You'll be safe, and you won't have to be part of my world. He paused, his eyes searching hers. Or you can stay, with me, as part of my life, not just as someone I'm protecting. Sophia's heart hammered. Stay as what, exactly? As whatever you want to be. Friend, partner, more I don't care about the label. His voice roughened. I don't want to let you go. This is insane. We barely know each other. I know you're the bravest person I've ever met. I know you'd sacrifice anything for your sister. I know you make me want to be better than I am. His thumb traced her lower lip. And I know that when I thought I might not make it back tonight, my only regret was not telling you how I feel. How do you feel? The question was barely a whisper. Instead of answering with words, Dante kissed her. Soft this time, tender, full of promise and possibility. When he pulled back, his eyes held hers with an intensity that stole her breath. I'm falling for you, Sophia Chen, and I think you might be falling for me too. She should deny it, should be practical, protect herself and Emma from a world of danger and violence. But as she stood there in the garage with blood-stained floor and armed guards just outside, Sophia realized the truth. She was already in too deep to turn back. I need time, she said finally, to think, to talk to Emma, to figure out if this is really what I want. Take all the time you need. Dante pressed a kiss to her forehead. I'm not going anywhere. 1 week later, Sophia stood in the penthouse living room, watching the sun set over Chicago. Emma was doing homework in the library with Maria's help. Vincent was stationed discreetly in the hallway, and Dante was in his study, giving her space to make her decision. She'd spent the week thinking, weighing options, considering futures. She'd talked to Emma, who had surprised her by saying, Mr. Moretti makes you smile, Sophie. You haven't smiled like that in a long time. She'd visited their old apartment, now empty after Dante had arranged for their things to be moved to. Secure storage. Standing in that cramped space with its peeling paint and broken fixtures, Sophia had realized something important. That apartment had been survival. This, whatever this was with Dante, could be life. She found him in the study, staring at documents but clearly not seeing them. I have an answer, she said from the doorway. Dante's head snapped up, his expression carefully neutral. And? Sophia moved into the room, closing the door behind her. I have conditions. Name them. Emma comes first, always. If I ever feel she's in danger, we leave. No arguments. Agreed. I finished my nursing degree. I'm not giving up on that. I wouldn't ask you to. And you keep working on going legitimate. I won't be part of the old world, Dante. I can't. I'm already halfway there. Another year, maybe 2, and the Moretti family will be completely clean. He stood, moving toward her. Anything else? Yes. Sophia met his eyes. You have to promise me that you'll let me in. All. The way in. No more shutting me out when things get dangerous. We do this together or not at all. That's the hardest promise, Dante said quietly. Keeping you away from danger is my instinct. Then learn a new instinct. Because I'm not a damsel who needs rescuing. I'm a partner who can handle the truth. A slow smile spread across his face. Is that a yes? It's a yes. Sophia closed the distance between them. I'm staying. We're staying. But Dante. She placed her hand over his heart. Don't make me regret this. Never. He pulled her close, his arms wrapping around her waist. I promise you, Sophia, I will spend every day proving that you made the right choice. Good. She tilted her face up. Now kiss me before I change my mind. He did, thoroughly and completely, until they were both breathless, and the city lights had begun to glow outside the windows. When they finally broke apart, Dante rested his forehead against hers. I never thanked you properly. For returning my wallet, Sophia laughed. Pretty sure you thanked me by completely upending my life. And I'd do it again. His eyes held hers, serious now. You gave me back more than a wallet, Sophia. You gave me back hope. The belief that good people still exist, that I could be worthy of someone like you. You are worthy, she cupped his face. And I'm going to spend however long it takes proving that to you. Forever might not be long enough. Then I guess we'd better get started. 6 months later, Sophia stood in the same penthouse living room, but everything was different now. She wore scrubs, having just finished a clinical rotation at St. Mary's. Emma was in her room, video chatting with new friends from the private school Dante had insisted on. And Maria was in the kitchen, preparing dinner for their strange, cobbled-together family. Dante came up behind her, wrapping his arms around her waist. How was work? Exhausting. Fulfilling. Perfect. She leaned back against him. How was your day? Signed the papers selling the last of the old operations. As of today, Moretti Holdings is 100% legitimate. Pride colored his voice. Construction, real estate, and nothing else. Sophia turned in his arms. I'm proud of you. Couldn't have done it without you pushing me. His hand settled on her hips. Speaking of which, I have something for you. He pulled out a small velvet box, and Sophia's breath caught. Dante. It's not what you think. Not yet. He opened the box to reveal a key. The brownstone, where we stayed during the Castellano situation. I bought it. It's yours. Yours and Emma's, if you want it. Why? Because you need a place that's just yours. Not mine, not ours, yours. Somewhere you can go if you need space, if you need to remember who you are outside of all this. His eyes held hers. I never want you to feel trapped, Sophia. Tears pricked her eyes. You're giving me an escape route? I'm giving you freedom. Real freedom, not the kind that comes with conditions. He closed her fingers around the key. Though I hope you never use it to leave permanently. I won't. She pulled him down for a kiss. I chose this. I chose you. And I don't regret it for a second. Even when I'm impossible? Especially then. She smiled against his lips. Someone has to keep the big bad Mafia boss in line. Reformed Mafia boss, he corrected. Thanks to you. From the kitchen, Maria called that dinner was ready. Emma's voice rang out, asking if they could watch a movie after eating. The sounds of normal life, domestic peace things Sophia had never imagined having with someone like Dante Moretti. But as they headed toward the dining room, Dante's hand warm in hers, Sophia realized that sometimes the right thing led to unexpected places. Sometimes, returning a lost wallet changed everything. Sometimes the most dangerous man in Chicago turned out to be the safest place to fall. And sometimes, just sometimes, integrity and honesty didn't lead to ruin. They led to redemption, to love, to home. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you loved this story, check out the other videos on your screen now. I think you'll really enjoy them. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. See you in the next story.